What's up, everybody? So I've been using the 11-inch Apple iPad Pro M1 since it was released in May of 2021, and I decided to share my thoughts and observations 2 years into daily use, just in case any of you were thinking of purchasing this device, given there is virtually no performance difference between it and the M2 version. Let me start by reminding you that I pay for the devices I've featured on this channel to this point with my own money, including this M1 iPad Pro. So I'm beholden to no one when offering my thoughts, which begin with build quality, because it wasn't long ago I was routinely disappointed in this aspect of Apple products. But that has improved a lot in recent years, and it's quite evident with this device. This thing has been beaten up so much more than most tech products I've ever owned for some reason. And it started day one when, in one fell swoop, it got knocked to the ground and I accidentally stepped on it. I don't even know how the heck that happened, but this device has fallen on carpet, wood, ceramic, and there are only minor scuffs and scratches to show for it. None of those scratches are on the display, which remains in just as good a shape as the day I bought it. In fact, the only complaint I have about the display is the dearth of oleophobic coating. This thing picks up smudges like there is no tomorrow, and I feel just a bit too much resistance when swiping. I thought they'd correct that from the previous version of the iPad Pro, but it's still there on the M1. And it's strange because this isn't really an issue on iPhones, for example. It's also not an issue on other tablets and phones I've used, including those from Samsung. It's a minor gripe and certainly doesn't interfere with how the Apple Pencil interacts with the device. I use the Pencil pretty frequently, partly because it helps avoid smudging, but also because certain tasks like video editing are just a bit easier and more precise with it. I use LumaFusion to edit most of my videos, which, by the way, is now apparently available on Android. I haven't tried it there yet, but I generally highly recommend the app. Video editing is pretty resource intensive, so as you can see, I use the iPad Pro for heavier tasks, not just lighter ones like watching YouTube or streaming, which I do using YouTube TV. Though I also have an iPhone, largely because I need to be using both if I'm going to have an informed opinion to give you, my daily driver of choice is actually a Samsung Galaxy. This here is the S23 Plus, and using an Android phone with an iPad is surprisingly seamless, as long as you're using services that are available everywhere. Apps and services from Google and Microsoft, for example, allow me to switch between my iPad, Galaxy phone, and Surface laptop with no problems. I actually made a full video about using an Android phone with an iPad, so check that out in the card or the description if you want more details. I've almost never used the cameras on this. I have done a few video calls on it, and the front-facing camera more than does the job. In fact, I like it more than the front-facing camera on most laptops, including my Surface laptop. I've gotten almost no use out of the rear cameras, and I'd certainly recommend using a smartphone for taking photos and videos. But if you do happen to be working on your iPad and find yourself immediately needing to snap a picture with no time to pull out your phone, it'll obviously do the job, considering we used to rely on much worse cameras on smartphones just a handful of years ago. Performance has not slowed down even a little bit since I bought this. Everything is so fluid, quick, smooth. In fact, there's apparently no noticeable difference between this and the M2 iPad Pro, according to plenty who have reviewed them both, including Zollotech. I'll link to his iPad Pro M2 review in the description so you can see for yourself. Even something like video rendering is only marginally quicker on the M2, and most people won't notice the difference at all. Unfortunately, Apple is quite shady when it comes to battery health on the iPad for some reason. You can't check it in your settings the way you can on an iPhone, for example. And even if you download a third-party app to check your battery health percentage, you have to plug it into a computer. So that lack of transparency is something to keep in mind if you're considering an iPad. The maximum I was willing to do to get some of this info was to run a third-party app on the iPad itself. And this is the score I got, for whatever it's worth. No information on percentage battery capacity left. Still, like I said, I haven't noticed a drop-off in performance during my 2 years with the device, and I can strongly recommend it for anyone looking for a high-performance iPad at a bit better value than the nearly identically performing M2 iPad Pro. You still have several years left of updates on the M1 version. You get an awesome 120 Hz Pro Motion display, and it even looks identical to the M2. Personally, I can't go back to 60 Hz displays on phones and tablets, but if that doesn't bother you and you're not rendering things like 4K video much, a new iPad Air may even be enough. For me, I'm more than happy to stick with the M1 iPad Pro for the next few years at least. There would have to be a substantial performance jump in the M3 or M4 for me to consider an iPad running those. So that about sums it up for the M1 iPad Pro 2 years later. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments section. If you want more reviews like this one, leave a like on the video so I know you get any utility out of them. And if you're interested in the M1 iPad Pro, I'll leave a link in the description to where you can pick one up at a discount. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. This video is sponsored by Best No Copyright Music. I'm often asked where it is I get the music that I include in my videos. The answer to that question is Best No Copyright Music. Whether you need music for your own creative needs, your own videos, or you just want to vibe out to some of the best tunes on the web, Best No Copyright Music, link to their channel is in the description.